How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a long ranty video, I guess, just sitting down. So I want to give my advice for beginner runners or people that want to improve or people that want to start running, because I've been running for 2 years. You can notice on the channel, like, I've made some running content, and yeah, it's just something I'm passionate about, enjoy, and I hope to share that with more people. So basically, my first advice is, if you don't run already, you just start. I'm not joking. I spent like a year thinking about, I should start running. I think I'd really enjoy it. And spoiler alert, I do enjoy it. But like, there was no reason to spend a year thinking about doing it. Just do it. Like, there isn't even an excuse. Like, you don't have time, don't have the right like, just go out for a run. Just do it. All right. You're gonna suck, and that's okay. Which brings me to my actual first advice, because, just go run is not good advice. But yeah, the first advice is to not increase your kilometers too fast, how much you're running, like how far you're running, and the speed at which you're running. I think that's what I meant, yeah. And don't try to get like a personal best every time you run. Because when I first started out, and from what I hear from all my friends, and like anyone I talk to with running, it's basically like, oh, it's so hard, and it's painful, and all of this stuff. And I guess if you're in bad shape, it also depends where you're starting, of course. Like, if you're really overweight, like just bad fitness, whatever. I had walked a lot previously, like, I was used to walking a lot, getting a lot of steps, but I wouldn't say I was in good shape. And what I did was, I thought that running, I had this idea that everyone has, that, running is difficult, running is hard, and I ran, and I think I ran 1.3 kilometers, and then I was dying. And if I just look over at my pace now, I have everything written down, I ran at a 4:30 pace, which is just ridiculous. Like, that's a pace that I don't even get down to now, and I've been running for 2 years. Like, I do that every once in a while. I think I just did a 10k PR at that pace, actually. So that's just ridiculous for a first run. Clearly, I didn't know what running was about. There's a general rule that people say you should follow, which is like 80% of your runs should be easy. Which basically means that 80% of your runs, you should be able to have a conversation. Like, you shouldn't be, huffing and puffing. Just, if you are, just go slower. And this was something that I struggled personally with a lot, because at one point I just felt like I was running into like slow motion. Like, I was really like, oh, okay, like, it's so slow. It doesn't even feel like running, But that is just something you have to learn to live with. So just learn to run slower. Like, I would say now, like, I can still run fast. I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been, maybe, or close to it. I can still run fast. I'm about to get some PRs soon, but almost all of my runs are like high 5-minute pace. Some of them like 6 minutes. I'm doing recovery runs at like 6:30 pace. I'm going very slow. Okay, so I just wanted to interrupt the video here with some numbers to show you. Basically, here's where I started running in August. Here's the run I've already shown. Then I had another one, I got a bit slower. And then you can see my first basic month of running was September 2018. And this pace is obviously, like, this would be a fast run for me today. Like, I wouldn't get like that tired, but it would be a workout, And these are all relatively fast. And yeah, and then October, it's the same thing. I have another 4:45 pace, and I have a 4:48 where I even wrote so close to beating my record. Like, I'm basically spending every run trying to PR or trying to go fast. And this is while also, you can see here, first run 1.7, second run 2, 3, 4, 5, then I do a couple 5s, then a 7 where I was actually going for 10. And then I go 5, 10, and then 10, and then instantly up to like a half marathon.
I'm increasing how much I'm running, like the distance, and I'm also like doing this crazy fast pace. It's just a recipe for disaster, which is how I ended up injured for all of October and November. If you compare September 2018, the pacing, with say 2019 September, you can see basically there's not even, I don't think there's one run in here the same pace. They are all slower. Actually, yeah, there's one run that's faster, and that was a new personal best half marathon. So, but every other run is slower. And then if you go to 2020, by last month in April, it's again there's a fast run, which I don't know why I did that, but let's call that a workout. There's a slow one, recovery, pretty slow, average, slow again, slow. Then there's a 10K PR, which is the one I just talked about. And then there's slow, pretty slow, slow. And again, these could actually be slower. I would actually like if I could get these to like 620 or something, or even 630 for some of them. And here you have a 623. And for the current month, it's like it's the same thing. So like all of my runs now are basically slower unless I want to run fast, which I clearly can do. It's just, it's a choice. So the point is basically just don't do this. Like when you're starting out, just run easy. Like have patience because clearly you just need to drop the ego and you can run fast while running. You have to run slow to run fast, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just wanted to intervene and mention that and show some specific numbers.
This video, maybe it's all over the place in terms of like if you're a beginner runner and you don't understand paces, which brings me to another point that I was going to bring up. Use some sort of tracking app, because if you're a beginner runner, you don't know how well you're doing. Like I've had days where I've gone out for a run and then I go run and then I'm exhausted, or I feel like my heart rate go up and I feel like I can't breathe, and then I'm like, fuck, I haven't run for a week or something, and I'm like, damn, I'm out of shape, I've been eating bad, blah blah blah. And then I look at my phone, it's like, well no, you were just running way too fast. I remember my first runs, I was huffing and puffing and I felt like shit. And then I think I sent the runs to my friend who was running, or she sent me her runs and I compared with her, and I was like, oh, well, I'm running way too fast. Then it makes sense that I'm bad. And then I had to try understand running slow. But yeah, so I strongly recommend that you get some sort of tracking app for your runs. Either Strava, Ednomondo, I think. The Nike running app is good. I can't remember. Runtastic got taken over by like Under Armour or something. That one's okay as well. There's so many different running apps. It really doesn't matter. Or you can also get like a running watch, but that's definitely not necessary as a beginner. But just get an app so that you can track your runs and see that you're improving, that you're not running too fast, not running too just use an app basically. But I don't think I have anything else to say about that. Just don't increase your don't increase your kilometers too fast. You should be focusing on running further or running faster, generally not both. And yeah, running too fast every time trying to get a new best is a bad idea. That's what I originally did. I was always running too fast. But also increasing kilometers too fast is also a recipe for disaster. People generally, again, these are general rules in the running community, whatever, and they might not apply as much if you're a beginner, but you shouldn't increase by more than 10% of your weekly. So just increase slowly every week how much you're running. And again, if you're starting out, that's some other advice I would give, is to be consistent, because maybe you're not motivated to go running, but you want to be consistent, because that's how you're going to improve, right? So start out. I think what I did in the beginning was I was running 3 times a week. So right now I'm at a point where I'm running 5, I think, and I basically I have days scheduled I have to run. So if it's raining, that sucks. I have to go run. But if you're just starting out, I would say run 2 or 3 times a week. You could say I'm going to run Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then if on Monday it's raining and it's terrible weather, or you have to go out with friends, then you can be like, okay, well, I'll run Tuesday instead. But just make sure you're getting 3 runs in a week, so you're keeping consistent. You have you have to do it basically. And then with that consistency, gradually increase how much you're running. So maybe first week you're running 2 kilometers 3 times in a week, and maybe 3 kilometers, and then just keep increasing. And obviously in the beginner you have like newbie gains or whatever, so you can just increase like faster than 10% or however much, but just do it slow so you don't get injured, and don't run fast. And if you want to run further, like you want to say your goal is doing a 10 kilometer or a 5 kilometer run for that matter, then try just run slower, because then you will be able to do it. So my next tip, which is another one that's important for recovery, is stretching. I think from what I've heard, you shouldn't stretch before a run. You could try that. I don't do it, and I wouldn't recommend it because I don't know enough about it to do it. I think you can do some small stretches, I wouldn't recommend it because I don't personally do it. Personally, I would just say when you start your run, you can spend the first kilometer getting into it, starting out slow, and then maybe increasing speed a little. But stretching after your run is very important, I would say. As soon as you're finished running, I would spend, 5 or 10 minutes stretching out. And if you can, I would also buy a foam roller and use that. But again, if you're a beginner runner, I didn't get a foam roller until a year and a half in, which, it's fine. Just do stretches, they will help your recovery. And that's the next tip, is also recovery, which is basically just saying that resting is incredibly important. A lot of people have this idea that you're cool if you run every day, but personally I would say, it depends what your goals are. If you want to run 5 kilometers every day, you can do that, but you could run more kilometers a week and be less tired, or your body feels better by running, say, 5 days a week. And I personally wouldn't run every day. I don't think it's efficient. I think your body needs rest, and so depending on your goals, do whatever you want. But there's nothing wrong with taking rest days. It's very important. And then along with those rest days, I would say that you should make sure you eat enough and make sure you sleep enough. So those are very underrated, I think. Sleep is so important. And I don't get enough sleep, which definitely I can feel, and I feel terrible sometimes running on low sleep. And then the food thing as well is something I can personally attest to. Right now I'm running low calories. I'm trying to lose a bit of weight, and it definitely feels worse running. And also your body it simply recovers slower. So just make sure you're getting enough food. There's a lot of I don't know if there's debate, but people say to eat within 30 minutes of a run and eat protein and all this. I don't really know how applicable that is. Maybe at the highest level, but again, this is more beginner runner, casual. I would just say, if you want to eat something before your run, then do that. I run half of my runs fasted. I'll just wake up first thing in the morning, go for a run. Do whatever you feel comfortable with, basically. It doesn't really matter. And then after a run, Just eat when you feel comfortable, basically, I would say. The important part is just getting enough food, and obviously getting healthy food, because I think that's actually like a concern. A lot of people take running and they go, oh, well, if I exercise, if I run, I'll lose weight. And it's like, no, you really won't. Like, if I ate the way I wanted, like, the way I wanted to, I would be very fat. Like, you cannot outrun, like, a shitty diet of just, like, chips, ice cream, snacks, whatever. Like, maybe if you're up running 100 kilometers a week, you can get away with a lot, obviously. But if you're running, like, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 kilometers, you still have to watch your diet. And even if you are, like, losing weight or being skinny, you're still going to feel like shit, and you're not going to perform well at running and life, I guess. Like, you feel worse. So I would recommend eating properly, at least to some extent. Obviously, don't go crazy with it. Like, you can eat unhealthy, but just overall, make sure you're getting enough food when running and sleep. Alright, so my next piece of advice is about running gear, which we already touched on a little bit, the watch and the foam roller. So basically, I said at the start of the video that there's no excuse for not running. It doesn't matter if you don't have time or you don't have the shoes or whatever. And I 100% stand by that. But if there is any running gear I would recommend, and I would say is like the most important thing ever, that's the shoes. Anything else, don't listen to me, it doesn't matter. My opinion's invalid. But the shoes are like insanely important. Because if you're running in shitty shoes, you are going to get like shin splints maybe, or knee problems, or something else, or like something with your feet. Like, you're just gonna have a bad time. If you just want to start out, you don't know if you're gonna enjoy running, 100% go for a run, go for 2 runs, go for 5. I don't know, like, just go for a run in the shoes you have. I'm sure you'll be more than okay. It's not an excuse to not run. But, unless you only have high heels for whatever reason. But, I mean, like, you should just buy shoes pretty early. Personally, I would recommend going to a, like, shoe store and getting advice, like a sports store, and having, like, a run test done. I did it on, like, a treadmill, and they tell you, like, what type of runner you are, if you're a neutral or pronated, or like, and also the sizing and such. So I would recommend that. It's going to be more expensive, but then going forward, you're going to know what to do, and then you can buy cheap shoes on sale online, and then you'll be fine. But for the first pair of shoes, maybe I would recommend, getting help. But basically, yeah, the shoes are just so important. I can also feel my shoes once they start getting worn out, which is another like piece of advice. Shoes get worn out, funny enough. But once they start getting worn out, you can really feel it on your legs, and like it damages your recovery. So I would buy good shoes, and I would change them every, I think the general rule is like 600 to 800 kilometers. So change them every 6 to 800 kilometers, which, if you are a beginner, 800 kilometers should last you, a long time. And that number, again, it depends on, I think it depends where you're running. Like, if you're road running or you're running on, like, some trails or something. And also, like, your weight, of course. Like, someone who's 100 kilos is obviously going to damage the shoes more than someone who's 50. So, it depends on your weight. But yeah, just focus on the shoes, that's the important part. And then the next part is basically, like, you can get a running watch. It's super helpful, super nice, but it's a bit of a luxury. Like, you'll be fine with your phone for a very long time. A foam roller I would recommend for recovery. I would recommend good wireless headphones, because it's kind of like a luxury. It's like a quality of life change. Like, it's so nice running with good wireless headphones. But is it a necessity? No, not really. And then obviously, if you're running somewhere it's super cold, then, buy gloves, buy a long sleeve shirt. I shouldn't have to tell you that if you're cold, you need to put on more clothes, but, do that. And then something that I would actually recommend that I didn't think about as a beginner, which was a mistake, let me tell you that, is when you run really far, if you're wearing like a cotton shirt, you will get nipple chafing, and that hurts. I've had runs where, like 2 hours after, even longer sometimes, I can just feel like this tingling sensation. So yeah, I would recommend getting like a good shirt. I don't know the fabric that I have, but get a good shirt if you can, so you don't experience nipple chafing because it's painful. And then also, I would recommend shorts as well, because I've experienced chafing there, like on the sides of your legs and such, and that is not a good time. And usually, it doesn't become a problem unless you live in like, a humid climate, like you're getting hot and sweaty, or like you're running a long time. But then it does become a big problem. So I would recommend getting compression shorts, or if it's like winter, then the tights. That's like super helpful. I got a pair of Under Armour and they've been like great. But again, those shorts, I wouldn't like, they're not a necessity if you're a beginner runner. And the t-shirt is also not a necessity. Like, I wore Quicksilver board shorts for I think a year and a half. I only just got the compression ones. And I wore just a regular t-shirt for a year as well. And I also ran without the watch for like a year and a half. All of this stuff I bought was basically when I was already committed to running. So if you're a beginner, just buy good shoes and then wear a t-shirt and just chill and just be happy, And then depending on your climate, adjust. But gear doesn't matter except the shoes is the main point. That's the main takeaway. Another piece of advice that I don't follow myself, but I think it's good, so I'll just give it, is to run with friends. I know there's a lot of running groups in different cities. My city has one as well. I just haven't been bothered to go. But basically, you should run with friends, I think, especially if you're a beginner maybe, because it is motivating, especially if you lack if you don't have the discipline yet to go running consistently, but you want to, then I think having a friend with you is a great motivator. It's the same as going to the gym. Like, if you have someone that says, all right, on Tuesday, 4 p.m., we're meeting, we're going for a run, then you're going to go do it. And again, it's also more fun. You run with a friend, and then you can also test this thing I said earlier with, running slow, run at a conversational pace. So yeah, I would recommend running with friends for sure. That would make it like a lot easier to be committed, a lot more fun, and you can just have a good time. So I would recommend that. Alright, so my last piece of advice, I don't know if it's really advice, but just run how you think is best. I see like a lot of people online saying like, I'm running 2 kilometers every time. I'm running like 2 kilometers every day. And people are saying this is wrong, or it's not worth going for a run if it's under 5 or 10 kilometers or whatever. And it's like, for me personally, for example, I would not run under 5 kilometers because the amount of time I have to spend stretching, showering, like doing abs, all that stuff after a run, it would be longer than the run itself. And for me, like a 20-kilometer run, running for 2 hours, listening to a podcast, is insanely enjoyable. Whereas running 5 kilometers, I feel like I get started and then I have to stop. So for me personally, that wouldn't be worth it. And I wouldn't recommend running every day. But if you enjoy just getting outside for 15 minutes a day, going for a 2-kilometer run every day, then you do you. Like, I think that's the most important thing. Just run how you think is best. If you think running with friends is best, do that. If you want to take your mind off things, run alone, do that. You want to run every day, do that. If you want to listen to music, go for it. If you don't, there's no right or wrong way to run. Like, it's a very simple concept. You go running, it's very simple. And then the hard part is the running slow. because that's what everyone seems to get wrong, myself included. I'm just learning now to take my ego away from it and what's it called? Just accept that running slow is not bad. Like, I can still run fast on a day if I want to. But yeah, it's very simple to run. Just do however it makes you happy, and just enjoy the sport, because I think it's a really, really great thing. The health benefits are great. You get to go outside, you get to hang out with friends, you can spend time listening to a podcast or a YouTube video or whatever, so you kind of being time efficient. Same with running on a treadmill. Some people hate the treadmill. I prefer outside running, especially if the weather is good. But running on a treadmill, if I have 2 hours of YouTube videos I need to watch, then running on a treadmill, I get my run in and I get to watch the YouTube video. It's efficient, and treadmills can be, just as great. So don't let anyone tell you how you should run, me included, I guess. A bit ironic advice video telling you how to run and then don't do it. But don't let anyone tell you what's right and wrong. Just do whatever makes you happy, and then I think you should be fine. But yeah, I don't think I have any more advice. Basically, my biggest mistakes and what you should take away from this video is don't get injured, because it sucks. So the most important advice was actually at the start. Just don't run too fast, don't increase your kilometers too fast, and don't try to get new bests every time, which is the same as not going too fast. Make sure you stretch, make sure you eat and sleep. Make sure you're consistent, I guess, but again, depends on your goals. And that's along with the same thing as just running for fun. If you want to be competitive and try to get fast times, do that. If you want to try to see how far you can run, do that. But yeah, I think that's all the advice. Make sure you get the good running shoes, like I said. That's probably the most important as well. But yeah, I think I've rambled for way too long, and the formatting in this video is not good because I went over multiple steps at once, but it is what it is. Anyway, if you want more running related content, or just videos about anything, I can talk about whatever. So if you want more videos just talking, I can do that. I also still have videos from China that I am working on, but I am slow and lazy, so there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, that's cool. Peace.